I read 10 books in April and I have some thoughts. 10 books in April, 7 tops, 2 flops, 1 DNF, 4 unread. April was actually delivering. So we actually had 13 to 14 books picked out to read in April, and I only got to 10. Quick note before moving forward, anything 3 stars and below is a flop, 3.5 and above is a top. First book is The UnHoneymooners by Christina Lauren, read digitally on my e-reader. I gave this book 4 stars. That makes it a top for us. If you love Emily Henry or 𝖒𝖊𝖉𝖎𝖆, I would definitely recommend Christina Lauren for you. Skip this if you kind of hate rom-com, predictable books. This one was really fun for me. I loved the premise and I loved the plot and I loved the main characters and I loved the side characters. I really love how it all unfolded. I gave it a 3 out of 5 for spice. I loved the little quotes throughout the book, and one of my favorites was, "The only coherent thought that comes to mind is how insulting it is that eyelashes like his were wasted on Satan's errand boy." So good. Book 2 was A Stage Set for Villains by Shannon J. Span. This was one of 2 book club picks. So I read it with a group of friends. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. That will make it a top. This is definitely for my theater girlies and for those of you that loved Phantasma but make it less spicy. Skip this if you want spice. And let me just tell you, after the 50% mark, this book did not stop giving. I was exhausted. I was tired. I had emotional whiplash. Could not recover. Still not recovered. If you like action-packed stories after 50%, read this one. And one of my favorite quotes from the book was, "Love provokes the hero as violently as it does the villain, and it's merely who tells the story that determines which is which." I did rate it 2 out of 5 for just very minimal spice. Book 3 was Apprentice to the Villain. This is book 2 of Assistant to the Villain. I actually DNF'd this book. I struggled through the first book. Thought I'd give the second book a chance because it was on my series that I'm in the middle of. And I decided that if I couldn't get through book 2, I was going to remove the entire series from my tracker, and that will be the case. I stopped reading at about 150 pages. That's gonna make it a flop for me. Read this if you like silly, non-serious stories that kind of don't go anywhere. Skip this if you're looking for depth in your book. As you may know, Priory of the Orange Tree, I will be reading this every month in 2026. I am slowly reading 17 pages per week for this. We're currently around the 50% mark, so we're slowly making our way through. No notes, no rating yet. It's just a very good epic fantasy. It's kind of hard for me to follow. I switch between audiobook, e-reader, and physical because I really don't want to break the binding on this book, especially if I'm not going to keep it. So this is literally as far as it opens, but I'm still counting it as a book that I read in April. Book number 5 that I read was on my e-reader. It's called I Got Abducted by an Alien and Now I'm Trapped in a Rom-Com by 𝖘𝖊𝖉𝖎𝖆. I rated this a 3.5. That will make it a top for me. However, we're kind of on the cusp of top or flop. Definitely read this if you want non-serious rom-com vibes. This was actually like the second book that I read that was a 𝖒𝖊𝖉𝖎𝖆, so that was a little new for me. Skip this if you don't like 𝖒𝖊𝖉𝖆. And the book was really ridiculous. Have fun with it. Go into it knowing that you're gonna have a good time. There's lots more in this series that you could read. So if you like this one, I encourage you to read the other ones. One thing that I did notice about 𝖘𝖊𝖉𝖉𝖎𝖆's writing is that she writes really well in the fantasy world, and I would love to see kind of a more serious book by this author. Really intrigued to see what that book would feel like. I gave it a 4 out of 5 for spice. It was pretty spicy. The next book that we jumped into was called Nightbane by Alex Astor. You guys know that I have a love for Alex Astor. This is the 3rd book that I've read by her. I'm so glad that I kept going on this series. I actually rated this 4 out of 5 stars. That's gonna make it a top. One of my favorite quotes from this book is, "My entire world was night and you lit a match. No matter what happens to me in this life, I'll find you in the next one. I'll always find you. What I feel for you can never be extinguished. Like the nighttime sky, it is infinite. You and me, we're infinite." What? Read this if you like fantasy. I thought this was gonna lean more YA, but actually this book was pretty descriptive and there were some spice scenes in it. Also, it was way more enjoyable than the first one, if you ask me. And the end was pretty crazy, so recommend it to you. Can't wait to continue this series. Another book in April that we read is Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. Loved this book very much. Gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Was a perfect continuation of book 1. I would say it is a little more darker. That's gonna make it a top for me. Read this if you liked belladonna Nana. Maybe don't read this without checking the trigger warnings because there is some mind things that are going on in this book. One of my favorite quotes from this book was, "Be wary, be clever, be good." So another book that I read in April was actually an ARC given to me, many thanks to NetGalley for the ARC. It's called I Punched an Alien, and now we're in couples therapy. This is actually book 2 to the I got abducted by an alien and now I'm trapped in a rom-com, and that's why I read that book. So this was another book by 𝖒𝖊𝖉𝖎𝖆, book 2, and I actually didn't like this one as much as I liked the first one. I actually rated the ARC a 3 stars, and that's gonna make it a flop for me. Again, read these books if you like really ridiculous stories that are funny and silly. The characters were great and the writing was great. It took a long time to get started in book 2, and I don't know, I just wasn't into it. Also, this book was very spicy, so once again, be prepared for some spice. So next we ended up reading Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands. This is book 2 of the Emily Wilde series. Short, cozy fantasy. I actually liked this book just as much as I did the first book. I read the first book a long time ago. I did rate this a 3.5 stars out of 5. That will make it a top for me. And I actually owe a lot to this book because this single-handedly took me out of my 5-star hangover, my 5-star reading slump that I was in. I'll actually talk about that 5-star book next, but I paired this with the audio and it was such a great choice. I love the main characters in these books. The story was very whimsical and fun and fantastical. I will continue the series. Read this if you like whimsy, cozy fantasy. Skip this if you don't. I love the way that Heather Fawcett writes, and one of my favorite quotes from the book was, "The problem is not the packing. I admit, I simply dislike traveling. Why people wish to wander to and fro when they could simply remain at home is something I will never understand. Everything is the way I like it here." I could not have resonated with a line from a book more than I did this one. And remember that 5-star book that I was talking about? Yes, we had one of those in April, and that is Rites of the Starling by 𝖒𝖊𝖉𝖎𝖆 Perry. This is book 2 to Shield of Sparrows, and if I've not stopped talking about this book since I finished it. I rated it a 5 out of 5 stars. That makes it a top for us. This is definitely a book for you if you love Fourth Wing, and if you loved 𝖒𝖊𝖉𝖎𝖆, and if you loved Quicksilver, you need to be reading this book. This one made me cry more than I have ever cried in a book. Onyx Storm rocked me, Iron Flame rocked me, but this book, it hurt worse. So if you need that feeling that you got from Onyx Storm, please read book 2 of this series. Skip it if you don't want to cry. I am already itching for book 3. And one of my favorite quotes from the book was, "You were always this woman. I knew it the day I watched you jump off this cliff. You were always my queen. It's not your fault that they weren't paying attention." And then lastly, to round out April, I am actually currently in the middle of a book. It is April 28th today, so I do have a few more days left of April to finish it. But we are reading Half City by Kate Golden. I'm actually loving this book so much. It's too early for a proper rating. I am at the 50% mark, but the writing is really great. It is kind of urban fantasy, and I keep saying that it's like Fourth Wing meets City of Bones or like Mortal Instruments, but make Clary the demon hunter and make Jace the demon. So I'm eating this book up. I'm 50% of the way through and I cannot wait to get through the rest of it. I'll probably have it done between tomorrow and April 30th. So that puts us at 10 books. So these were the tops for April. This is the one DNF that I will be unhauling along with book 1. And we have 2 that are still in progress. I borrowed 1 book from the library that we didn't read. I read 4 on my e-reader. I read 7 physically, and I had 2 flops. So as we already talked about, this was the flop. This gets the crown. Best book of April. This was the sleeper hit. I had low expectations, but I was really surprised. One of these would be considered most unhinged. This because I was on an emotional roller coaster after 50%, and this one because I sobbed and cried so hard. These made me want to consume the entire series. I'm already thinking about book 3 for this one. Half City is definitely giving me one more chapter vibes. Very hard to put down. And authors that I want to read more from, definitely Alex Astor, because she is a queen. And 𝖒𝖊𝖉𝖎𝖆 Perry, I'm actually really curious if her non-fantasy books would hit the way that this does, because I need my 𝖒𝖊𝖉𝖎 Perry fix. So we knew we were being really ambitious in April if you had watched the Egg Basket Picks My TBR. And that's okay that we didn't read all the books that we wanted to. Comment below what was your top read for April, and no tea, no shade, but what was your flop? of April. If you made it this far in the video, make sure to leave a bird emoji in honor of Rites of the Starling, so I know that you made it this far. Don't forget that we have live stream reading sprints every Sunday on YouTube and Twitch. If you want more information about the books that I reviewed in this video, you can always check out my Goodreads or Instagram. If you want to join the community, consider liking, subscribing, and turning on notification for these videos. Also, we do have a Discord that's kind of dead, but we're trying to revive it. And as always, thank you so much for joining me today for another video. I appreciate you being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye! But we are reading